Hello everyone, and welcome to our next lecture on creating tables and charts. So let's begin. Alright, so when it comes to drawing tables and charts, well, the prerequisites or the condition is, of course, you have to have collected your data and you have it in the form of raw data, meaning you have the items and you have numbers, but basically that's about it. So you have the raw data and you've collected it. Now you need to make sense of it, and that's why we do tables and charts. The purpose is to represent your data. You have all these numbers and all that. You want to represent that data in a meaningful way so that you can understand it better and you can interpret your data better in an overall manner. So that's what we're going to learn to do today. Right, so you have your raw data and you probably have your raw data table, and then it goes into graphic presentation, like how do you represent that data. And so you have graphs or charts, okay, and you have tables as well. So it could go both ways. Now for your project, you will not be using a tabular presentation or a table to present your data. You'll probably be using graphs. But still, you learn how to create effective tables and how to create charts in this particular lecture. Right, so when you draw tables, we'll look at tables first. So when you draw tables, it's used in two ways. First is to collect and you organize your raw data. So you have all these questionnaires, right? The data. But you haven't calculated the total numbers and stuff. So you want to collect it and you want to organize your raw data. You use tables. Or it could be to be representing the final data to be included in a report, which you won't be using for your report. You can use it as appendix though, as part of helping you to organize your raw data. So you want to sort, organize, summarize, and even reorganize your data. So you want to group your data by classifications, okay, in groups, in order to make comparisons and understand better. Okay, so that's what you do when you draw tables. You want to organize it, make it more systematic, arrange it and reorganize it. You want to summarize all your data, group it up, okay, so that you can make comparisons or you can see certain certain patterns, and you're able to understand your data better. Or it could be as a final representation. You can include subtotals or totals. You could have averages, means the mean, or you could have percentages or your frequencies in your tables. Now, features of a good table, of course, it has to be easy to read, to understand, to refer to in a report, and it should only include relevant data from the results. Now, an important thing I want to note here is you do not use tables to show trends or relationships. You can't really see patterns or trends or changes over time in a table. And that's when we will use charts, which I will talk about later. Right, so first of all, you need to know what are the important parts of a table. So first thing you have to have is, of course, a title. Okay, your table needs to have a title, and it should be numbered. For example, in sequence, table 1, you have your title. What is the table showing? You have table 2, table 3, etc. So you have the table numbered with the title. Okay, next, of course, you call it a table spanner. Don't worry about the name, but probably meaning you can have a subheading for certain rows of the tables. For example, these items are talking about 4 morning responses. Okay, and then you could have a table note, a little extra information about the table that is not directly in the table. For example, what they're talking about here is actually behaviors taken at 3-second intervals. So extra information about the table that it's not really directly seen in the table, you put it in the table note. Right, so let's just look at this, okay? Here's some examples. You have a table on the left and a table on the right. Now, comparing these two tables, which do you think is actually a better example? So it's easier to read, it's easier to understand, it's clearer, it helps you see the data better. Which is better, left or right? You can pause the video right here, think about it, and then I'll show you the answer. Right, so the answer is actually the table on the left. Good, but can you tell me why is it a better table? So observe the two tables, compare them, and then write down some notes on why you think this table is the better example, and we will discuss this in class. Right, so let's have a look at another table. Okay, another example, sorry. So we have a table on the left, table on the right. Which is the better example? Pause here, compare. Yep, the answer is the table on the right. Now the question again is, why is the table on the right a better table? So compare certain things, alright, and take down a few notes, points on why the table on the right is better than the table on the left, and we will discuss it in class. Right, so now we're going to do a little exercise, okay? You're going to create a table. Now, this is the data given to you. It's raw data, okay, about how many males and females feel that their body image or how their body looks like is about right, or overweight, or underweight. Okay, so now what else? What other things can I include in the table so that it will be clearer? It'll help to represent the data better and help you understand it better. Maybe write down some points as well. Okay, you can pause the video here, write down some points, and we will discuss what elements to add to the table to make it better in the class. Alright, finished with tables, we're going to move on to the types of charts. Okay, types of charts, we're going to focus on three major types. The first one being the line chart, okay, just like this one. And we're going to talk about the second one, which is column or bar graph, okay, column or bar graph. Or the third one, it could be a pie chart. Okay, so a pie chart, and this one we call a donut chart when there's like space in the middle. Okay, anyway, it's the same thing. I will go through each of them right now. So first is a line chart. When is the best time to use a line chart? Okay, first of all, what is a line chart? It is basically a line that connects all the data points. So if, for example, you have 4, 6, 5, 3, then you actually connect those data points. And the importance of a line chart is it's able to show trends, which is changes over time. So at this point, it is here. At the next point, it has dropped. At the next point, it has gone up again. So it shows changes over time. And it helps to identify whether two variables relate or correlate to each other. What is their relationship between the two? Does it decrease? Does it increase? What is the relationship? And it is very good in making comparisons. So you're talking about one, you're comparing it with another. It's clearer when you use a line chart, especially changes over time. So that's a line chart. Now, what about a column or bar chart? Okay, a column or bar chart will have the height of the bars actually represent a certain measured value or frequency. For example, the higher or the longer the bar, okay, the greater the value, obviously. So the shorter it is or the smaller the bar is, then the smaller the value. Okay, now a column chart is when it is vertical, meaning it is facing upwards. Okay, and the bar chart is actually horizontal. Okay, so this is a column chart, this is a bar chart. Right? The only difference is that the x-axis and the y-axis is switched between the two types. Okay, now when do you use the column or bar chart? It shows relationships, and it is used for comparisons. You want to compare between certain things, you may want to use a column or a bar chart. And it may also show distribution. Now, what does this mean, distribution, when it's continuous? For example, if we're talking about height, let's see what the distribution of the height of everyone in our class is like. Okay, so we have height. So from 0 cm, of course, all the way up to 200 cm, for example. Okay, so it's continuous, and when you do a bar column chart like this, you're able to see, there are quite a number of short people, but there are more who are taller people in our class. So it shows the distribution of how our classmates fare when it comes to height. You can use a column chart. Right, now what about a pie chart? Pie chart looks like a pie where each segment of the pie represents a particular category within the whole part. Okay, so for example, let's talk about races. Okay, in our class, you want to compare how many Malays, how many Chinese, how many Indians, according to category, in this whole class. So it compares parts of it to a whole, or it shows composition. Okay, so we look at, okay, we have a lot of Chinese here, or very few Malays, very few Indians. So you're comparing different categories within the whole class or the whole part. Okay, that's a pie chart. You want to compare different categories in one whole. And the donut chart, of course, just works the same. It just looks more like a donut than a pie. That's the only difference. Right, so now that we've learned about the line chart, the bar column chart, and the pie chart, let's have a little exercise. Now I'm going to give you a few topics. Determine which type of chart, whether line, column, bar, or pie, suits the following topics for this company ABC Cindy and Berhard. They want to do a survey, they want to find out certain information, okay, which type of chart is the best. So let's look at it. He wants to look at the employees, its workers, according to gender. Which kind of chart? Or he wants to look at the distribution of its employees by age. Monthly sales throughout the year, the countries where the sales come from, and the annual sales of 3 different product models for the past 5 years. So for each of these topics, I want to get the information, I want to represent that data, which type of chart would be the best. So try this out, write down the answers, and we will discuss it further in class. So yeah, that's about it about tables and charts. We will do more practice, and especially for your group assignment in the class. So thank you and see you in class. Bye.